Where is AI taking us? I asked this question because I've featured a couple examples on the channel so far of being able to use AI to actually benefit the end user. And while there are some existent apps that do that, I mean, ChatGPT is being used by virtually everyone and their mom at this point. There's a lot of cases of AI where it just seems excessive or it's taking too much data and it really doesn't attack the problem it's trying to solve. So, what I want to do is I want to take a very popular AI product website and search through some of the most popular ones, find the ones that people are using, and seeing if it actually solves a problem, if it creates problems, or if it is just another throwaway AI app that really doesn't do much for you. All right, so the first one I want to get into, well, the main platform we're going to be using today is right here. It's called Product Hunt. This is where we're going to be getting a lot of our, products to look through, our ideas to discover, and stuff like that. But before we get into that, I actually want to take a look at this other one called IdeaBrowser.com, and I've gotten a few ideas that I've, thought about before making projects for myself. Maybe, one or two of them I have actually started to develop in my spare time, and it just gives you an idea of the day. If you only have like 10-15 minutes to kind of think about what AI can do for you. Today's one is an AI budgeting app that texts you about your spending habits like a financially savvy friend. So taking more of a colloquial approach to budgeting. People don't always love listening to their financial advisors or whatever it may be. Now, what do I think about this specific idea? I think it can be helpful to a lot of people. But also, I think if you're working on budgeting, you're not going to pay for an app like this. You would much rather just have a friend that guides you through your spending problems. I don't think another monthly subscription is going to be the answer to your questions. All right, maybe I don't love that idea. Maybe I don't love it in terms of generating revenue for me. Maybe I can get some ad revenue off of it, but overall, I'm not a huge fan. So what I can do is I can go here and go through the whole database of ideas they've had in the past if I do have a little bit more time on my hands. The CoffeeZilla of tech. All right, so this one it's not going to tell me right now, but there are other ones I can look through. No, you're not going to show me any of them? That's a little upsetting. All right, dang. At the very least, you can read up, this amount on what you can use AI for, what you could potentially use it to benefit, or just whatever. So yeah, this is an interesting place to get ideas, and for every single day, it will give you the stats on the potential revenue for it. These can be a little bit overinflated, but generally speaking, if you're just looking for an idea of something to build, definitely go with one of these. You absolutely can get away with starting here if you're trying to build an AI product yourself. All right, so the first one I want to look at today is actually right at the top of today's chart. It's called Flowstep here. I've been personally very interested in building UI designs with AI, just from a building a website perspective. Front end is not something I'm typically great at when it comes to specifying where buttons go and everything. So first off, it says 5-star reviews with 1 review, which is not great, but also this website isn't too well known yet. Part of why I want to populate it is for more people to give input on what people have created so far. So taking a look here, again, there's not really much to go on in terms of reviews. AI design assistant, creating website designs. How do I get started? Most pages you see have a website designer here. Already, this is, I'm assuming they didn't make their own website design with AI, but they do seem to know a lot about UI, user interface design. This is a very robust system. Even with my movement of the mouse, it traces behind. It's not actually, a perfect match. So it knows a basic amount of UI is what I'm trying to say. So I put in some information to start building a fitness app a while ago, probably about 2-3 minutes ago at this point, which I know doesn't sound like very long, but I'm very confused about where exactly this is coming from with the UI design. It says almost ready to reveal, so I'm going to give it a couple more minutes to see where it gets me. Okay, so it does provide a pretty robust design. However, you're not actually able to access any individual elements of it. This is more, I'm assuming, just a way to give a company a starting visual of what you're going to build for their website, make that process a little bit easier. You are able to regenerate. Where'd it go? I saw it somewhere. So I actually don't even know where it went. There was an option to either regenerate this page or to add more content in the form of another page, or you know, I didn't even see one to edit the page that I have here. So overall, I give it like a 5 out of 10. It is innovative, but there are already website design builders out there that give you the actual code to work with. You can edit specific parts. You can keep prompting over time. So yeah, 5 out of 10 sounds good. All right, and on the same line of, you know, using AI for fitness, this is one that claims to be able to track your workouts and give you statistics along the way. So I'm curious to give this one a try. I'm a big gym goer myself. So I just started messing around with putting inputs in, and actually this is one that I did earlier today, like this actual workout, logging it here, and then I'm assuming the more I use this over time for, you know, specific workouts that I do, it'll keep giving me more information about, you know, where my progress is, what my progressive overload looks like, how I can improve in the future. This one I'm actually really happy with. I think it works well to ensure that you're doing the workout as you go. Because with a lot of fitness tracking apps, I just do my workout and then forget to log any of it and then forget the exact numbers that I do. Actually, I'm going to rate this one pretty high. I'm going to give this one like at least an 8.5. I'll go for a 9 actually, because I'm very interested in this. I think I might, you know, incorporate this into my day-to-day. All right, now this one I'm a little bit scared about. You know, having to do with image generation. Honestly, my view of generative AI in this context is pretty negative. I feel like a lot more negative use cases exist than positive ones for generated images. It definitely musters up, like, you know, what counts as real evidence, or what honestly just what we know to be real things that happen in the real world. I saw something earlier today about a commercial that uses purely AI generated content. So stuff like this I'm a little bit curious about. So yeah, I'm scared to give this one a try. The number here says 1,392 milliseconds. I don't know if that's an actual number or if that's just something it's showing me on the landing page. All right, so they actually have a quick YouTube video to watch, or tutorial to watch. So I'm gonna check this out, see what comes up along the way, and I'll get back to you with what we decide we want to do. And it actually just gives me here straight up a series of paths that I can take to get started with rendering pictures in terms of turning it into website design is what I was kind of getting at from the video. So this is really interesting. Let's see. So yeah, I could take a screenshot of, in the video they showed a website one. It was like the oh, okay, whoa, Instagram post. That's actually really interesting. Yeah, so I'm curious, if I put one of my own Instagram pictures into here, do I get like a coded version of the post? That's really interesting. What's really funny is that the technology here even goes all the way back to PHP, which I don't know. I don't even know if the first version of Instagram was coded on PHP or how that even works. That's crazy to me. I don't know what people are using PHP for in 2025. I really don't, but that's just very interesting to find. And guys, you know what's starting to pop up more and more in the modern day is Zapier, just with integrations for any sort of API call. If you don't know what APIs are, check out the last video we had. We did a very similar thing. But yeah, let's see where we could go with this Zapier or Shot Instagram integration thing. So the first two things I'm thinking about is that you have this like count section here, which, you know, on an automated system for someone with hundreds of posts, I'm sure you could get, you know, some sort of neural network data figuring out what does well on an Instagram post and what doesn't. In terms of other factors, I was thinking, you know, if you have a lot of posts about, you know, in nature, stuff like that, there's definitely some integration to where you can figure out where the picture is being taken. And then again, if that's set up on a large enough number of posts, you can definitely figure out where the hotspot travel locations are just across the web. Again, I'm focusing on this Instagram example, but there's a lot of these applications to go around. I'm curious to see if there's any other ones that I can get some kind of major takeaways from here. Very similar things can be done with Twitter posts or X posts, you know, than what we were just talking about with Instagram. Same thing with Pinterest. Yeah, honestly, like my initial speculations don't really seem to be merited because it's not actually doing any image generation. It's just giving you data about the images that you make, and you know, it's giving you ways to enhance your images using AI, which honestly is really cool. I have not seen this approach before. I've honestly just mainly seen Midjourney things and Google VO3 that try to, you know, create the work of a human. This stuff is really interesting. I'm gonna give this at like an 8 out of 10. This is also really cool, to be honest. Yeah, now we get to some scary places on the internet. I don't even want to dive into crypto and all that. I wouldn't know enough to, you know, to make a living off of doing that stuff. All right, this is one that I already know I'm not gonna like. We're getting into hiring software, and I know I'm gonna hate it for two reasons. One, because the first one to pop up is LinkedIn, which, if you know me personally, you know I am not a fan of the platform. I think the way people communicated on there is very fake a lot of times. But just beyond that too, you know, if we start getting to the point where we're talking about using AI to, you know, figuring out our hiring processes, stuff like that, just generally speaking, it doesn't work very well. So I'm very curious, but I wanna scroll through a couple of these. Fiverr, that's one that's been around for a long time. And just a lot of other ones here. Again, I've never hired someone before, so I wouldn't be the expert on a lot of these. This one, okay, top devs for startups affected by COVID-19 starting at 25 an hour. Okay, Lemon is a marketplace that offshore developers, cutter rates, and I don't know what this means. I'm very curious. They claim to be responsible for over 1,500 developers getting hired. Looks like globally, which maybe isn't huge numbers on a large scale, but that's pretty good for a website I've never heard of before. Yeah, so actually, again, there's an option for me to add my own projects here, and for me to just generally share more about myself, my applications. There's ways for me to connect with, you know, other members on the platform about job opportunities in the field of computer science. Actually, once I put some of this project in and actually like have a name for myself on the platform. So at this point in time, I would give it like a 6.5, but honestly, most of that is just because it's not super populated yet. It doesn't look like, you know, especially for, you know, just job hunting in general, the main player in the game is still LinkedIn. So it's definitely hard to say I will move to this platform right now, but if it expands in the future, I am absolutely not opposed to throwing my stuff on here. It gives a more direct form of just showing people the work I can do and how I can prove ROI for a company. So I'm actually quite a fan. To end off today's video, I think the only one that makes sense is going back to what's new today, June 12th. This IdeaBrowser, which, you know, day browser, for those of you who don't know Spanish, I'm assuming it's just kind of supposed to help you with day-to-day. It says chat with your tabs, which I find very interesting. Maybe just a way to navigate between pages that you have opened. So yeah, final one of the day. Let's see if we can end as well as we've been doing all day. All right, so looking at the page, yeah, it looks like it just does a lot of stuff that just, you know, is day-to-day life. You know, instead of having to copy this, take it to ChatGPT, get your information, iterate it, and then paste it, it just does it all in-house for you, which is pretty freaking awesome. There were also some other ones in here where it talked about, in this trailer, where if you have tabs open that have information in them, it's just going to go ahead and retrieve that information from the tabs without you even asking, which, don't get me wrong, definitely can get into too much convenience, too little security. For those of you who don't know, generally speaking in the field of AI, if your app is more convenient than others, the more security issues it rises alongside it. But a lot of these are just really cool. I think a lot of people are going to want to use these on a regular basis. Convincing yourself out of you know, buying something that's too expensive. Yeah, no, this is all going to be helpful. It looks like it's a Chrome extension. So, you know, yeah, I can put my thing in here, and then it'll get me a version of either a Chrome extension or some web browser software that I can use. This is the 10 out of 10 of the day. This is really, really cool. So what have we learned, chat? I feel like we have definitely reached a point where there are a lot of cases where AI is very scary in how it's being used. A lot of it, you know, people are going to say it's going too far, and honestly, there's a lot of cases where I agree. But like, I feel like a lot of the ones we talked about today were just like, just beneficial. Like, I don't know, like just kind of, we're getting to the point where it's more human-centered design. You know, actually learning what people are looking for in, you know, a fitness app or a job hunting app, or like stuff like the last one where it covers day-to-day life. I don't know, there's just a lot here. I really hope this makes you guys as excited as it makes me. This is really cool.